Hey guys, welcome to take 2 of this video. It is the video you've been waiting for about 3 million business days. Why do I look so I don't know, I just look darker on camera. Anyways, the WZM Cygnus versus the LDY Cygnus, and also touching on the Apocalypse one, because that is also something I need to mention. So yeah, let's just get straight into it, guys, because, you know, you've been waiting to see this. You've been being asked about this like loads, and it's like, hey, I can't wait to see the comparison video. Which actually, I really enjoy you guys being so patient with me, because I have a schedule and I kind of want to stick to it, because otherwise I would put out like all of my content in the month of August and I'd be like screwed for the rest of the year. Yeah, we got good things coming. Lots and lots of exciting things. But yes, so here is the WZM Cygnus. I'm going to first compare this to the Apocalypse Cygnus. So in terms of dimensions, the Apocalypse Cygnus is slightly thinner, which means that this jimping has more of it. I mean, it's useless, but there is more of it, like there's more holes. Other than that, it is a little bit lighter, and I think the balance is slightly different. I think it might be a little more neutral / blade weight balanced. But you know, it's not a big deal. I do think out of the 2 clones, this is the better one, and hopefully after watching this video, you'll understand why. And now onto this versus the real Cygnus. I'm gonna just say it. This thing is practically 1-to-1 dimensions wise, at least for the handles. Okay, let's take a look at the bottom of these knives, right? I don't know about you, but that looks next to identical to me. This is a little rounder, this is a little more square, but in terms of actual dimensions, that's pretty much perfect. If you look at where everything lines up on here, you can see, okay, yeah, this G10's rougher. The milling on here is a lot more pronounced. It is here. They sound different because titanium, aluminum, but no, literally to the point. The scales are also so close in terms of actual size. I wouldn't be surprised if they are swappable. Okay, here's one of the differences. The milling here, the milling lines on this, they go into the G10. They do not here. They stop just shy of it, and also obviously the milling's a little less consistent. And then in the screws here, I mean, this is pretty much the same pattern. Yeah, and then the actual real differences are in the blade. But let me just go to another level to show you how on point this is. This hardware fits in these screws. The sex bolts on this and the female screws here fit LDY hardware and vice versa, which means you can put original hardware on the clone, and I imagine it will probably be a lot better as well. We will talk briefly about the hardware on this and cover it in the video. Basically, one of my handles is Loctited. LDY, please don't Loctite your knives, because you ruin your screws, and I'm going to be real with you, your screws are not amazing. They aren't incredible. They're pretty shallow for what they are. They are deep and they do catch, but they are still shallow for what I expect from an original maker's screws. They are on par with kind of like good clone screws in terms of dimensions, but obviously material-wise, they are more difficult to strip than, you know, clone screws. But like Arm Shark make better screws than this. Like, come on, not better screws, but like deeper screws. Which it's just embarrassing from LDY, to be honest. But I do still like it. I do like the hardware. It wouldn't be an issue if they weren't Loctited. One handle is fine. One handle is perfect. The other handle, just screwed. These bottom screws, and also they're not in like the same orientation. All the screws are normally up, right? Like when it's like this, all the screws be up. These ones are like down, and these ones are up. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. But yeah, the hardware, it's a bit fiddly on this guy, but you'll see that in the review. That's just my little rant. It's just, I had a bad night with this. Okay, I was switching to the stainless steel washers because I much prefer the stainless steel, because you can crank on them and they last longer and all that. And I also treaded out the tail. It was just a mess. It was just a whole mess. And I believe actually one of my Zen pins is actually stuck and stripped. I think that one. It's not stripped quite, but it is stuck with the actual pin. I wanted to replace it, just put all new hardware in here, but I'm gonna have to sort something out. I will fix this. I will get this running pretty much perfect, but I'm just disappointed, to be honest, for the price you pay for this. There's the hassle here. Anyways, onto the blade differences. Sorry, the tang is marginally different. This one is slightly taller, has a bigger hole. That's about it there. I mean, it's slightly more square if you look here on the edges. For the WZM Cygnus, and then I think that there seems to be a slight difference in the blade profile. Maybe because this line here is thinner or something, and this whole bit has a bit bigger of a. I'm not 100% sure. I think that is what it is. That's why this blade, it just feels slightly different to this one. Obviously, that has a tip. That doesn't, because that's full edge and that's an actual blade. But the main differences here are on the spine. If you stand them up like this, you can see, I mean, here is pretty much accurate. Obviously, just everything's a bit squarer, a bit more cheaply milled, which makes sense because it'd have to be because of the price they offer this. But yeah, in terms of weight, this is obviously slightly lighter. So this is actually the middle ground in terms of weight-wise between the LDY, the WZM, and the Apocalypse. Weight-wise, it's solid. If we go for a tolerance test, here is your play. And for tap, this is pretty good. Although I'm pretty sure if you shake either of these hard enough, they'll probably eventually tap. That's not tap, that's... Yeah, anyways. What about this one? Okay, yeah, no, this is pretty... It's pretty impressive. Maybe I've sold that, I'm not sure. Yes, when it comes to weight, obviously this is a little more weight because it's titanium. Weight is at the end of the handles. It's quite nice. Let's just get to the point. Balance. This is neutral with a tad bit of hand bias. This is pretty much the same, just more neutral. In fact, it is bordering the teensiest bit of blade bias. Not as much as the Prisma or the one Tsunami Damascus blade, because I believe the non-Damascus blade is slightly lighter. So I'm not sure about that one. Not as much as those two, but it's definitely like crazy neutral. And that's just because this is made of aluminium. The G10 isn't as grippy on this guy, which is understandable. It basically just feels like an aluminium Cygnus would if they were to make one. That's the best way I can describe it, because the blade is kind of, for all intents and purposes, the same. It flips kind of the same. It's just the handles that are slightly different, and that's not in dimensions. That's literally just in weight. And it's actually super close to weight-wise. This is maybe like 5 grams heavier or something, and that's because, actually, if you see in there, there's really intricate milling inside the Cygnus that makes it super lightweight. And actually, if you take this off as well, you can see it. In here, not so much. They've actually kept it all kind of solid because, one, it's cheaper, and oh, actually, have they done the same? Oh, they've done actually a similar cutout in the middle as the actual Cygnus. But one, it's cheaper, and two, they obviously want trying to keep the weight similar. And so that's a really good way of of adding weight, I should say, to this product, because it's a little light. But I do really like its lightness. It is quite nice. It's super easy to carry. It's not fatiguing whatsoever. As most modern ballast songs are, just nice and light. The G10, it helps the aluminium be actually kind of grippy, but obviously aluminium is aluminium. I won't by any means say that this knife is crazy grippy. Not like this thing, which sometimes it feels like it doesn't want to get out of your hand, to the point where I'm pretty sure sometimes the G10, it's so rough, it's kind of like an abrasive. I think it's like worn down like the edge of my finger a little bit, just from flipping it like for too long yesterday. I think it's mostly just like this bit here, getting used to that. But yeah, no, this is super nice to feel. It's still kind of similar softness. They feel same size-wise in the hand, like identical size-wise. It feels like I'm just flipping the same knife out of different materials. The balance is obviously slightly different, which is where you'll notice them A and B if you used to do it, because that's slightly more handle bias than that is, and so it's a bit more competitive. But this is super crazy good for the price, and I mean, even if you just do a sound test. And obviously this is bouncier and a bit deeper and a bit clackier, but this is a quarter of the price and emulates that sound really well for a Chinese copy. I don't think, in person, they do sound more different than they do on camera. On camera, they sound a little more similar, but dude, these things are scary close, man. I'm telling you, this is really, really good and really, really bad for them, because this is shockingly good. If this was made of aluminium, out of titanium, and has slightly better G10, even with just G10 at the same price, or even if it's like $30 more expensive, even at $150, I would say this genuinely would be like pretty close to a real Cygnus experience. Obviously, they'd have to do the milling that they do in that, so I doubt you'll get one that's actually going to be as good until they find a way to really cheapen out how to mill these handles. But yeah, these things are, it is scary good. I'll be real with you. The milling is there the feel is there. It feels not quite like an LDY product. I'll try and see if I can get this versus an Orion, because it does feel kind of like an LDY product. I'll be real with you, and obviously in presentation, but obviously this being cheaper, it doesn't feel cheaply made. I mean, the G10 and the screws feel a bit cheap, but like I said, if you own an LDY product, you can fit real screws in here. At least the pivots, which I'm almost certain will make this flip much better, which means the washers most likely will also fit in here if you need spare washers. And I've not tested it out, but the bushings might also fit. Yeah, that's definitely something. But if you do run out of screws there and you don't mind some crappy T8, T10 screws, you have the option of the Cygnus hardware, the WZM Cygnus hardware. And yeah, I'm really going to wrap this video up here, guys. Let me know questions in the comments below that you want answered, because these things are really close for the price that you pay. I think this is a really well done clone. And honestly, the only reason it's not King of Clones right now is because the one does the Nami, which is titanium, and personally I think it looks a bit better, for not that much more expensive, right? In fact, similar pricing actually as this. Which is kind of ridiculous. So I think for that, maybe I've not tried the Apocalypse one in hand, but it does sound really good. Maybe I'll pick one up at a later date. But yeah, also this will most likely be for sale, so I'll probably be selling this. If it has not already sold by the video, maybe you can hit me up on Instagram or something. But yeah, check out my Instagram, link in the description, all that good stuff. Music, other stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope it's been at least informative. Hope you've garnered something from this video here between these two ballad songs, because they are, not one and the same, but awfully close. Especially considering the price discrepancy. This is like 4 of these. It's like, what? But yeah. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.